My name is Arthur Stone, I'm 67, and for a year and a half I pretended to be a custodian to spy on my own grandson. I know you must think I'm crazy, and maybe I am. But when you love someone, and that person disappears from your life without explanation, you do things. It was October 2023, 6 in the morning. I was in the locker room at St. Luke's Hospital putting on that blue uniform I knew by heart. The badge said, John Smith, Custodial. John Smith was my fake name. I grabbed the cart and went to the 5th floor. Cardiology, where my grandson Ryan worked. It had been a year and a half since I'd spoken to him. A year and a half without knowing if he was alive or dead. The elevator stopped and the doors opened. That's when I saw a scene that changed everything. Ryan was standing in the hallway in a white coat when a beautiful young woman came up to him. Ryan, she called, smiling. How about we grab a coffee after our shift? My grandson stood there for a few seconds, fiddling with his stethoscope. Then he said, Oh, Megan, I remembered I have an appointment. What appointment? An emergency. Yeah, an emergency came up. It was a lie. I'd known my grandson since he was little. I knew when he was making up excuses. The young woman, whose name was Megan, looked a little embarrassed. Oh, that's okay. Next time then. Yeah, next time. And you know what my grandson did? He pressed the elevator button and went down. He ran from the girl as if she were dangerous. I stood there watching it all. The boy I raised running from a beautiful, polite woman who just wanted to have a coffee with him. That's when I thought, what the heck is going on here? Let me explain how I got into this crazy situation. In March 2022, I was at Mr. Henderson's funeral when I heard some neighbors talking. And that grandson of Arthur's, Ryan, how's he doing? Oh, that handsome doctor. My dear, that one lives alone. They never see him with any woman. That's strange. Such a handsome young man, a doctor. When I got home, I looked his name up on Google. I found a photo in the newspaper. Cardiologist saves child in surgery. Ryan was smiling in the photo, but it was a smile, empty, and he was alone. I tried calling his apartment. The number had changed. I tried sending a letter. It came back, as if he had vanished from the world. That's when I remembered Mr. Jenkins, who had worked at the hospital and still knew people there. I called him. Jenkins, how does a person get a cleaning job at the hospital? A cleaning job? What for, Arthur? How was I supposed to explain? It's for an acquaintance of mine. A week later, he called me. I got it. There's an opening for a substitute. Nothing official, but if the person is trustworthy, they can stay. That's how I became John Smith. In the first few days, I came home with a sore back, my feet swollen. It had been 40 years since I'd done heavy labor, but every time I saw my grandson, the fatigue went away. The problem is that as the days went by, I started to notice that Ryan wasn't well. He was polite to everyone. Good morning, Mr. Smith. Thank you, Mr. Smith. But it was a distant politeness, as if he was talking out of obligation, not out of desire. And every time a woman tried to approach him, he ran away. It wasn't just Megan. There was the nurse, Carly, always friendly. Dr. Ryan, can I help you with anything? He would thank her and disappear. There was the physical therapist, Annie. Doctor, shall we have lunch together today? He would make up an excuse and disappear. One afternoon, I was cleaning the hallway when I saw Megan trying to talk to him again. Ryan, can I ask you a question? He tensed up right away. Do you have something against me? What do you mean? Every time I try to talk, you seem to get uncomfortable. Ryan looked at the floor, the ceiling, anywhere but at her. No, Megan, it's nothing against you. Then what is it? Silence. We can at least be friends, right? And you know what my grandson answered? Megan, I'm not running from you. I'm running from everyone. Everyone. My boy was running from everyone. Megan was at a loss for words. Why? Ryan looked at her with such sad eyes that I wanted to run out and hug him. Because it's better this way. Better for who? For everyone. And he walked away, leaving her standing there. That night, lying in bed, I kept thinking about our fight, the fight that separated us forever. Do you want to know why my grandson and I fought? It was because of a girl named Leah. Ryan had been dating her for 2 years. She was a simple girl, a mechanic's daughter, who sold clothes in a store. He was in love, but I didn't like her. I didn't think she was good enough for him. My grandson was a doctor. He had studied so hard. He had a brilliant future. And she was too common. I started putting pressure on him. Ryan, are you sure about this? You're from different worlds. This girl has no ambition. The situation heated up until, in April 2021, Ryan came home with a strange look on his face. Grandpa, I broke up with Leah. For a few seconds I was even happy. I thought he had listened to me, but then he continued. I broke up with her because I realized something terrible about myself. What? That I'm becoming like you. Like me. What do you mean? Controlling, obsessive. You made my mother leave my father because you thought she wasn't good enough. Now you're trying to make me leave Leah. It was true. When Ryan was 12, his parents separated, and I had pulled some strings. I put so much pressure on my daughter-in-law that the marriage ended. Ryan came to live with me and stayed until he was 18. Grandpa, he continued, do you know why I really broke up with Leah? Why? Because I started to want to change her, just like you did with my mother, and I got scared. Scared of what? Of destroying the people I love. That's when he yelled the phrase that stuck with me forever. You destroy everything you touch, Grandpa. You're not going to destroy my life too. And he slammed the door. 2 days later, he came back, packed his things, and left. Let's talk, Ryan. There's nothing to talk about. I need to learn to live without you controlling my life. And he left. Now, a year and a half later, watching him run from everyone at the hospital, I started to understand what had happened. It was a Thursday night. Ryan had forgotten some papers and went back to his office. I was cleaning the hallway when I heard him on the phone. Charles, I can't go to your birthday. Why? Man, you don't get it. I'm afraid of liking someone there and ruining their life. Yeah, just like my grandpa ruined my parents' lives. I stopped cleaning. The mop fell to the floor. Charles, my grandpa loved the family, you know. But that love turned into a prison. He controlled everything. Who to date, where to work, even how to raise a child. My parents separated because of him. But Ryan, you're not like that. Yes, I am. Every time I like someone, I'm already imagining how to protect them, how to improve their life. It's sick. It's better to be alone. At that moment, like a punch to the gut, it all clicked. Ryan wasn't running from people because he was shy. He was running because he was afraid of becoming like me. Afraid of controlling, of suffocating, of destroying those he loved. Just like I had done with his parents. Just like I had tried to do with Leah. My grandson was alone because he was afraid to love, and I was the one to blame. The following Friday, I was cleaning the bathroom when I heard Ryan come in. He went to the mirror and started talking to himself. Ryan, don't think nonsense. Megan is a good person. She doesn't deserve you to ruin her life. Ruin her life. You know what you're like. Don't do to her what you did to Leah. It's better to be alone. It's better not to hurt anyone. That's when it all really clicked. My grandson thought he would hurt people if he got into a relationship with them, just like I had hurt his family. At that moment, hidden in the bathroom, listening to him convince himself that it was better to be alone, I felt a pain in my chest that I had never felt before. It was the pain of realizing that the love I thought I was giving him had turned into fear in his life. The boy I raised, who I protected, who I loved more than anything, was punishing himself for being afraid of becoming like me. And there I was, disguised as a custodian, watching my grandson suffer because of me. It was at that moment that I made a decision. I wasn't just going to watch. I was going to try to help. I was going to try to fix the damage I had done myself. Of course, at the time, I didn't know that this decision would complicate everything even more. Because sometimes, when we try to fix a mistake, we end up repeating the same mistake again. Have you ever stopped to think about something? Is it possible to love someone in such a wrong way that this love turns into fear in their life? And is it possible to fix a mistake that big? I was going to find out that it was possible, but not in the way I imagined. And what do you think? If you were in my place, what would you do? Because I'll tell you, what I did from then on only made things worse. Much worse. After discovering that my grandson was afraid to love, I spent a week stewing over it. It was November, and every day I arrived at the hospital thinking, now what, Arthur? Are you just going to watch, or are you going to do something? On a Friday morning, I made my first mistake. Ryan was in his office fiddling with some papers when he knocked a framed photo off his desk. It was his graduation photo, a photo I kept just like it in my house, with the two of us smiling. The frame cracked on the floor. I went in to clean, and, without thinking, I blurted out, "Oh my boy, you broke your graduation photo." Ryan slowly raised his head. He gave me a weird look. "How do you know it's from my graduation?" My heart almost jumped out of my mouth. "Oh, I saw you looking at it yesterday." "I wasn't here yesterday, I had the day off." A heavy silence. He kept looking at me suspiciously. "It must have been another day then," I said quickly. "Sorry, doctor." I grabbed the broom and ran out, but I noticed he was keeping an eye on me. When I walked down the hallway, I felt he was paying attention. Did I learn my lesson? Not at all. 2 days later, something happened that got to me. Leah showed up at the hospital. I found out she worked at the pharmacy on the first floor. She came up to deliver some medicine and ran into Ryan in the hallway. "Hi, Ryan." He froze when he saw her. "Hi, Leah. Everything okay?" "Everything. And you?" "I heard you became an important doctor." "Oh, it's not quite like that." I pretended I was cleaning nearby, but I was paying attention to everything. Leah was different, more put together, new hair. But there was a sadness in her eyes. "Ryan, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Why did you never try to talk to me again?" Ryan fiddled with his coat, looked at the floor. "Leah, it was better this way." "Better for who? It wasn't for me." "What do you mean?" "I loved you, and you left me saying it was for my own good." "Who gave you the right to decide that?" He was speechless. "You know what I think? You were afraid." "It wasn't that." "Yes, it was. And the proof is that you're still alone, 2 years later." She left, leaving him standing there. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the look on Ryan's face when she said that. Was Leah right? Had I taught my grandson to be afraid of true love? In early December, I made a decision that I still don't know if it was the right one. I decided to give fate a little nudge. Megan kept trying to get close to Ryan, and he kept running away. But I saw that deep down he liked her. When she wasn't looking, he would watch her work. When she laughed, I would see a little smile on the corner of his mouth. So I came up with a plan. I broke the main elevator. Well, I didn't actually break it, I just pulled a few wires out of place. I knew the technician, Mr. Bennett, who had explained how it worked. It was Thursday, late afternoon. Ryan and Megan were leaving together. With the elevator stopped, they would have to take the stairs. The plan was simple. Force them to talk. Everything went wrong. When they got to the stairs, Megan tried to make conversation. "It's a pain for this elevator to break, isn't it?" "It is," Ryan answered dryly. "Ryan, while we're at it, can I tell you something?" He stopped walking. He got tense. "Ever since I got here, you've always avoided me. If I did something, tell me." "No, Megan, you didn't do anything." "Then explain why you run." Ryan started to sweat. His breathing became rapid. The way he leaned against the wall, it looked like he was getting sick. I don't run." "Yes, you do. Yesterday I asked you for coffee. You said you had surgery. But I saw you alone in the cafeteria later. Megan, Ryan, are you okay? You look pale." He leaned against the wall, panting. "Sorry. I have a problem." "What problem?" "I'm afraid to get close to people." "What do you mean?" From what I could hear from below, he said something about hurting people who liked him. Megan didn't say anything for a long time. Then I heard her voice. "Ryan, that doesn't make sense." "Yes, it does, just like my grandpa did with my family." "Your grandpa what?" "He controlled everything, and I'm afraid of being the same." Megan was quiet for a few seconds. When she spoke again, her voice had changed. "You know what? You deciding for me whether I'm going to get hurt is also control." That hit me hard. She was right. It's not that, he tried. Yes, it is. You're doing what he did, deciding for other people. I heard footsteps going down. Megan had left. Ryan stayed there, sitting on the step. I went up slowly. Dr. Ryan, is everything okay? He looked at me with red eyes. Mr. Smith, do you have family? I have a grandson, I answered. Do you get along? We've had some problems. Have you ever hurt someone by trying to help? The question hit me hard. I have. How do you fix something like that? I looked at my broken boy, asking how to fix what I myself had broken. I don't know, doctor, but I think it starts with saying sorry. He stayed there a little longer. Then he got up and went down. That night I kept thinking, was I, by trying to help him with Megan, not doing the same thing again? The next week was tough. Ryan came to the hospital looking like death warmed over. Deep dark circles under his eyes, his hands trembling. He looked like he hadn't slept. During his shift he would see patients normally, but in between he would get lost in his thoughts. Monday, I was cleaning near the break room when I heard him talking to Dr. Charles. Ryan, what's with that face? You look like you've seen a ghost. Worse, Charles. I think I've turned into a ghost. What do you mean? Ryan sighed. Remember I told you about my grandpa? I remember. I found out something ugly. I'm doing the same as him. Controlling who? Myself. And those around me. Dr. Charles didn't understand. Explain. Megan likes me, right? And I keep running from her, saying it's to protect her. But in reality, I'm deciding for her, just like he did. I had to stop myself from going over there and talking to the boy. So now what? I don't know. I'm afraid to look for my grandpa and see that I've become worse than him. Ryan, can I tell you something? Go ahead. If you're worried about it, it already shows you're not like him. Why? Controlling people aren't worried if they're controlling. They think they know what's best. Ryan was chewing on that. You think so? Man, I see you with patience. You're caring, you never force anything. You're not controlling. You're afraid of being controlling. Tuesday afternoon, Ryan broke down. I was cleaning the bathroom when I heard someone come in. It was him. He went to the mirror and started to cry, crying like a lost child. Why can't I be normal? Why am I afraid of everything? I stayed there on the other side, listening to my grandson fall apart. Grandpa, where are you? Why can't we get along? I almost came out of the store to hug him. I miss you, Grandpa. I miss when I was little, and you would tell me stories to fall asleep. The stories. I had forgotten the stories I used to tell him before he went to sleep. But I'm afraid to look for you, and you want to butt in my life again. He washed his face and left. I stayed there alone, understanding that my grandson missed me. He wanted to forgive me, but he was afraid that I hadn't changed at all. Wednesday almost ruined everything. Ryan arrived early and found me tidying up his desk. Instead of just cleaning, I had lined up the pens, stacked the papers, just the way I always liked things organized. Mr. Smith. Hi, Dr. Ryan. Do you organize my desk? My blood ran cold. What do you mean? Yesterday I left everything messy. Today it's all in its place, the same way that... He stopped. He looked at me intently. The same as who, Doctor? Ryan came closer. Mr. Smith, can I ask you a question? You can. You remind me of someone. My heart raced. I do. My grandpa, who I haven't seen for 2 years. He must be a good person then. He was, but we hurt each other. Do you miss him? Ryan sighed. I do. A lot. But I'm afraid. Of what? Of looking for him and finding out that nothing has changed. I looked at my boy, so close to the truth, so far from imagining that I was right there next to him for 1.5 years. What if he did change? I asked softly. How? What if your grandpa learned that he was wrong? What if he just wants to apologize? Ryan looked at me in a way I'll never forget. Do you think so, Mr. Smith? Can people really change? I think so, Doctor. When love is bigger than pride. He was lost in thought. Do you think I should look for him? It was my chance to tell the truth. But I thought, if I tell him now, he'll think it was all a setup. So I said, I think in due time you two will find each other. He smiled, the first real smile in a year and a half. Thank you, John, you always say what I need to hear. If he only knew. You see, they both wanted to make things right, but each was afraid to make the first move. The question is, how do you break the ice? Because I was about to discover that sometimes the truth appears when we least expect it. And when it appears, there's no way to pretend you didn't see it. It was a Wednesday in December when everything started to fall apart, the end of a shift. Raphael was in his office when Marina knocked on the door. I was cleaning the hallway and heard her talking louder than usual. Raphael, we need to talk. The door closed, but I could still hear their voices. Not everything, but enough. Do you like me or not? I heard Marina say loudly. Silence. I'm tired of trying to guess. Her voice became more agitated. I couldn't hear Raphael's answer, but by her tone afterward, he must have tried to avoid the subject again. Decide what's best for me. That's when things went south. I heard Raphael's voice getting louder, breathless. Don't come any closer, he yelled. I stopped cleaning. I heard that clearly. I'm going to ruin your life. Marina said something I didn't catch, but Raphael kept yelling. My grandfather destroyed my family. I broke up with my girlfriend because I was afraid of becoming just like him. The mop fell from my hand. The conversation continued, but I couldn't understand much more. I only caught pieces. Raphael talking about controlling people, Marina saying something about seeking help. Then I heard footsteps and the door opening. When you decide you deserve to be happy, look me up, Marina said loudly, and she left. I waited a few minutes before going in. Raphael was sitting in his chair, head in his hands. Dr. Raphael, is everything all right? He lifted his head. His eyes were red. John, have you ever been afraid to look at yourself in the mirror? What do you mean, Doc? Afraid of seeing a bad person? The question hit me hard. Yes, I have. And what did you do? I tried to change, but it's hard. Raphael looked at me with a different kind of attention. You talk just like my grandfather. My heart started racing. How so? The same way, so calmly. Was your grandfather a good person? He was, but he was also complicated. Why? He loved too much. And that love hurt everyone. I moved a little closer. He must have learned that he was wrong. How do you know? Because someone who truly loves suffers when they see they've hurt someone. Raphael stared at me intently. How do you know so much about this? The question hung in the air. I didn't answer. I couldn't. John, you remind me a lot of him. I grabbed the broom quickly. I have to finish cleaning, Doc. And I ran out. The following Thursday, Raphael arrived at the hospital early. I was cleaning his office when he appeared at the door. He looked at me in a strange way, as if he were studying my face. John, can I ask you some questions? Of course, Doc. How long have you worked here? A year and a half. And where did you work before? I started to sweat. In other places. What places? Oh, Doc, I've worked in so many things. He came closer. Do you have family here in the city? I have a grandson. What is he like? He's a doctor, just like you. Raphael stopped in front of me. How old is he? 38 years old. The same as me. It's a coincidence. Do you know my full last name? I froze. What? My last name. Rafael Silva Santos. Have you ever called me that? I thought fast. I don't know, Doc. Maybe I heard someone say it. He went to the desk and picked up the photo frame. Do you remember when this broke? I remember. You said, oh my boy, you broke the picture of your graduation. So what? No one has called me my boy for 2 years, no one. My blood ran cold. And there's another thing, he continued. Yesterday, when I was feeling down, you said exactly what my grandfather would say. Dr. Raphael, and the voice. Now that I'm paying attention, it's the same voice. He got very close. Take off those glasses. Doc, take off the glasses. I took them off slowly. He looked me in the eyes. My God. Grandpa? I couldn't answer. Grandpa. Hi, my boy. His face changed instantly. Surprise turned into anger. "I can't believe it. Raphael, let me explain." "Explain what? That you deceived me for a year and a half?" He started pacing back and forth, running his hand through his hair. "I was saying good morning to my grandpa every single day." "My boy, but don't call me that." Tears started to stream down his face. "A year and a half lying to me. A year and a half. I just wanted to know if you were okay." "Okay, do you think I'm okay?" He stopped in front of me. "Answer me one thing, did you ever think about me?" "What do you mean?" "About what I wanted, if I wanted you around." I stayed silent. "You didn't, did you? Just like always." "Raphael, you know what's worse? I was missing you, thinking about looking for you. That's what I wanted most, but now I know nothing has changed. You're still controlling my life." He threw himself into the chair, exhausted. "Why can't you just leave me alone?" I sat down in front of him. "Because I'm afraid of losing you. And I'm afraid of becoming you. We've been in this dance for 2 years. We were silent, both of us crying. "Now what?" he asked softly. "I don't know. Did you change anything?" I thought about it carefully. "I learned that I can't fix your life, but I'm still afraid. And I learned that I can't live with fear, but I still have it." We looked at each other. "We're doing everything wrong," he said. "We are, but I don't know how to do it right." "Me neither." He wiped his tears. "I'm going home. I need to think." "That's fine." "And you? Are you going to keep pretending to be John?" "No. I'm leaving." "How?" "I'll say he had to go take care of his sick mother." He almost smiled. "You thought of everything. A year and a half of lying. I learned something." At the door, he stopped. "Grandpa?" "Yes?" "You're crazy." "I am. But thank you." "For what?" "For caring." And he left, leaving me alone with a year and a half of lies scattered on the floor. The truth was out. Now it was a matter of seeing if anything was left to rebuild. Do you think a mess like this can be fixed? Do you think a poorly given love has a remedy? I was about to find out. But first I had to learn something I never knew: how to truly apologize. 2 weeks passed since the truth came out. 2 weeks without talking to Raphael. I didn't know if he would look for me, if he would give me a chance, or if I had lost him forever for good. Until one Thursday night, the phone rang. "Grandpa?" My heart almost jumped out of my mouth. "Raphael?" "Yeah." Awkward silence. "Are you okay?" I tried. "I don't know." "And you?" "Me neither." More silence. "Grandpa, do you want to have lunch with me tomorrow?" "I do." "There's a diner near the hospital, the corner cafe, 1 o'clock. I'll be there." "Okay, bye." "Bye, my—" He had already hung up. The next day I arrived 15 minutes early. I sat at a table in the back and was as nervous as a kid at their first dentist appointment. Raphael arrived punctually. He was thinner with bags under his eyes. He saw me and gave a stiff wave. "Hi, Grandpa." "Hi." He sat down. The waitress brought the menu. 2 veggie sandwiches and 2 Cokes, he ordered without even looking. "Sounds good." She left. We sat there without knowing what to say. I fiddling with the napkin, he fiddling with his cell phone. "How are you?" I tried to break the ice. "I don't know. Confused. And you?" "The same." He gave an awkward little laugh. "At least there's 2 of us who are confused." The food arrived. We ate for a while in silence. The sandwich was good, but it didn't go down right. "Grandpa," he said after a while, "can I tell you something?" "You can. But you won't give any advice." "I'll try not to." "I looked for Marina." I bit my tongue not to ask what happened. I apologized. I explained about my problems. She said she needs to think that she's hurt. I wanted to say that she would come back, that he was a good guy, but I held myself back. How was it talking to her? Difficult, but at least I didn't run away this time. It's a start. It is. But I'm still afraid of messing everything up if she gives me another chance. I almost said that he was different from me, that he wouldn't mess anything up, almost. But I controlled myself. If you mess up, you two talk and try to fix it. He looked at me a little surprised. That's it? That's it. Marriage is that? You make a mistake, you talk, you try again? Where did you learn that? By making mistakes with you all these years. We were quiet. Then he asked, Grandpa, why did you never get married again? Because I thought no woman could put up with a stubborn guy like me. Just like I think no one will be able to put up with a scaredy cat like me. We really are alike. He finished his sandwich. Grandpa, I want to make you a proposition. Go ahead. I want to try to be your family again, but it has to be different. How? We see each other once a week. We have lunch together. But you don't give me advice I didn't ask for. And what if I forget and do? You say, whoa, I'm giving advice, and I'll tell you if I'm running away from you out of fear. It was a little weird, but maybe it would work. It's a deal. He extended his hand. We shook hands. But there's one condition, he said. What? No more disguises. I laughed. I promise. I've retired my career as a liar. He laughed too. The first time in 2 years I had seen that genuine smile. At our fourth lunch, I was counting them all. Something important happened. I had found an old box at home full of things from when Raphael was a child, drawings, report cards, some photos, and a letter he had never given me. It was from when he was 16 years old. I read it and my heart tightened. Grandpa, you love me, I know, but your way of loving is suffocating. Sometimes I want to breathe and I can't. You gave me everything after my parents separated, but you also taught me that loving is clinging to a person. Now I don't know how to love properly. One day I'm going to leave home and we'll miss each other, but it has to be this way. Raphael. The 16-year-old boy already knew what I only just learned. I wrote a response. My boy, I found your letter today, 22 years later. You were right. My love was suffocating. I learned that loving isn't holding on tight. It's holding with care and letting go at the right time. I'm sorry it took me so long. Grandpa. I brought both letters to our lunch. What's this? He asked. A letter of yours that you never gave me. And my answer. He read his first. He turned red. Wow, I really wrote that. You did. I had some nerve. More than me in 50 years. He read my letter. His eyes got wet. Grandpa, you really have changed. I'm still learning. Marina reached out to me, he said out of the blue. My heart skipped a beat, but I didn't say anything. She wants to talk again. Try slowly. How do you feel about that? With a different kind of fear. What do you mean? Before I was afraid of hurting her. Now I'm afraid of not being good enough. Which one is better? He thought about it. The second one. The first one made me run away. This one makes me want to be better. You're learning. And you are too. Why? You didn't ask a million questions about her. You didn't give advice. You were just happy for me. It was true. It was the first time I heard news about Raphael without wanting to meddle. It's strange, I said. What is? Being happy for someone else's happiness without wanting to be in charge. Is it good? It's great. But then I almost ruined everything. Just be careful not to go too slow, I blurted out. He looked at me seriously. Whoa. Whoa, what? You're giving advice. Oh, that's right. Sorry. It's okay. At least you noticed quickly. We laughed. The system was working. 2 months after that, Raphael arrived at lunch with a different look on his face. Grandpa, Marina wants to meet you. What do you mean? As my real grandfather this time. Does she know the whole story? She does. And she wants to have lunch with us. What did she say about what I did? That it was crazy, but that at least I improved afterward. It wasn't exactly a compliment, but it wasn't a condemnation either. You want me to go? I do, but there are rules. What rules? No interrogation. No asking if she wants to have kids, where her family works, that stuff. I would never do that, I lied. Grandpa. Okay, I promise. The following Saturday, we met at a restaurant. I arrived early and was nervous, fiddling with my fork. They arrived holding hands. Marina was pretty, but she had a somewhat suspicious look when she saw me. "Marina, this is my grandpa, Anthony." She greeted me politely but coolly. "Nice to meet you. The pleasure is mine. Raphael talks about you a lot." "I can imagine," she said with a little smile that didn't reach her eyes. The conversation was tense at first. Marina answered my questions, but briefly. Polite, but cold. In the middle of lunch, she got straight to the point. "Mr. Anthony, can I say something?" "Of course." "What you did was very weird." Raphael tensed up. "Marina." "No, let me speak. Spending 18 months pretending to be someone else, spying. That's not normal." She was right. "I know. And it makes me uncomfortable to know that you were watching me without me knowing." "Marina, I know you didn't do anything wrong, but it's still strange." Raphael looked at me with a say-something look. "You're right," I said. "It was crazy and disrespectful to you." She seemed a little surprised that I admitted it. "But can I explain why?" "You can." "I was desperate. I didn't know if my grandson was dead or alive, happy or sad. And when I found out he was alone because of me, I did the only crazy thing I could think of." Marina stared at me. "And now? Do you still think you know what's best for him?" "No. Now I know he's an adult, and he can take care of himself." "Are you sure?" "Look, if you want to know if I'm going to meddle in your lives, I'm not. If you want to know if I'll sometimes feel like it, I will. But I promise I'll control myself." She let out a little laugh. "The first real one. At least you're honest. I'm learning to be." The lunch got better after that. Marina relaxed a little. She told me she was from another city, that she had moved here to work at the hospital. She didn't say much about her family, and I didn't ask. In the end, when they were leaving, she said, "Mr. Anthony, I'm going to give you a vote of confidence, but if you do anything crazy again—" "I won't." "Then okay." They left. I was thinking that it hadn't been a total disaster. A week later, Raphael called me. "Grandpa, there's a barbecue at my place on Sunday. Are you coming?" "I'll be there." "Some of our friends will be there." "That's fine." "And you're going to talk to everyone. You're not going to stay in the corner." "Now you're the one giving advice," he laughed. "I guess so. But come anyway." I went to the barbecue. I met their friends, good people, fun. Marina was more relaxed. She included me in conversations, still a little wary but trying. In the late afternoon, when people had left, Raphael came to talk to me. "So, Grandpa, what did you think of everyone?" I almost said I thought Fernanda was a little loud and that Charles drank too much, but I held back. "Nice people, you have good friends." "That's it." "That's it. Why?" He smiled. "Nothing. It's just that you were so quiet all afternoon. I was controlling myself not to give anyone advice. And you succeeded." "I did. I'm getting good at this." A few days later, Marina called me. It was a surprise. "Mr. Anthony, it's Marina." "Hi, Marina. Everything okay?" "Everything is. Can I say something?" "Of course." "Thank you." "For what?" "For really trying. I can see you're making an effort." "I am." "And I don't know, Raphael is happier, more relaxed." "That's good. So, thank you for the effort." I hung up thinking that maybe things really would work out. 3 months later, Raphael told me he was going to propose to her. "Are you sure?" I asked, and regretted it at the same time. "Whoa. Sorry, automatic question. It's okay. And yes, I'm sure. Then I'm happy for you two." "That's it?" "That's it." He hugged me. "Thanks, Grandpa." "For what?" "For becoming my real grandpa." "What do you mean?" "Before you wanted to be everything. Dad, mom, counselor. Now you're just a grandpa. And that's great. Today, when I tell this story, I know it didn't end here. We're still learning. I still want to give advice sometimes. Raphael still gets insecure once in a while. Marina still looks at me sideways when she thinks I'm going to say too much. But the difference is that now we know it, and we try to do better. I learned an important thing. Loving correctly isn't about never making a mistake. It's about making a mistake, realizing it, apologizing, and trying again. And you know what? It's much better than trying to be perfect all the time. We're a crazy, complicated family, but it's ours. And at the end of the day, that's enough. Raphael proposed to Marina last month. She said yes. And me? I cried like a child. Not because he was finally getting married, but because he was happy, in his own way. And after 67 years, I finally learned that's what matters. Not being the grandpa I dreamed of being. Being the grandpa he needs.